Hi everyone. This video is going to be about how to approach the week 1 paper in this course. So if you want to go to the assignment, you can just open the assignment link here from week 1. But first we need to go to resources because we will be using an article from this week in order to, actually we're just going to summarize that article. So the article is here, Articulating Uncle Tom's Cabin. If you click on that link, you'll be taken directly into the library and the article itself, which is right here. Now, I would recommend downloading the PDF. So you just click download and proceed. And then in order to save it, if you hover, there'll be a little download button. And then you can choose where you want to save it to your own computer, and it will save it as a PDF like this. And then you have the article that you need for this week's written assignment. Okay, so if we go to the written assignment itself, and I'm going to read it just because the whole point of this video is to go through this together. So Harriet Beecher Stowe's anti-slavery novel, Uncle Tom's Cabin, is arguably the most influential novel ever written. It changed the course of U.S. history. For more on the influence, see the video that's in the required resources. See that video. So in Articulating Uncle Tom's Cabin, Jim O'Loughlin argues that Uncle Tom's Cabin was so popular and influential because Stowe reflected, quote, existing tropes and public concerns in a compelling narrative form. Moreover, Stowe created powerful images that took on a life of their own, evolving into racist stereotypes. Some of you might be familiar with the Uncle Tom stereotype, which is another article in the recommended resources explains some of those stereotypes that emerged after this novel was created. However, back to what we're going to do here. Here's the article, O'Loughlin's article. And so what we're going to do is summarize O'Loughlin's argument in 2 to 3 pages, not including title and reference pages. So summarize it. So in what ways did Stowe reflect her culture, and in what ways did she influence it? In what ways did Uncle Tom's Cabin positively influence American culture? And in what ways did it negatively influence American culture? And then be sure to cite specific passages from the text to support your interpretation. Below, you are given guidelines for summarizing sources. Make sure you check that out in the Ashford Writing Center. How to write a good paragraph, step-by-step guide. In-text citation guide. If you use any quotes from the article, make sure that you cite them appropriately. Notice that when you use a quote in quotation marks, you have to include the author's last name, the date, and the page number. Many students don't include the page number. They need to, even in APA. And then there's another resource here, Understanding Writing Assignments. So there's also a guide to summarizing. This is the Ashford Writing Center, AWC. And here is an example of what it looks like to summarize in an academic fashion. And then you can check out the grading rubric here. But let's go back here. The main aspect of this is to read Jim O'Loughlin's article and to summarize it in 2 to 3 pages. Answer these questions. In what ways did Stowe reflect her culture, and in what ways did she influence her culture? In what ways did Uncle Tom's Cabin positively influence American culture, and in what ways did it negatively influence American culture? O'Loughlin describes this in his article about Uncle Tom's Cabin. And so I'm not going to tell you what he says about it, the positive and negative ways that the novel impacted American society, but that is your job in the 2 to 3 pages. So make sure that you read the entire article and do your best to explain the answers from O'Loughlin's point of view in his article about how this happened. Now, one thing that you'll find out from just any cursory evaluation is that that Beecher Stowe's the book itself had an impact, in that it educated a large number of American citizens and non-citizens about the conditions that were going on, about slave conditions for different types of slaves on different types of in different types of environments. And it actually helped people to like understand that it wasn't just a bunch of people working and, you know, they're just kind of hanging out. Everybody's like getting along, and the slave owners are these really benevolent human beings who they care about all the slaves and they treat them with respect and human dignity and all these things. Now, everybody knew that that wasn't the case, but they didn't realize per se the level of severity and horror that often accompanied. That was just an everyday experience for the American slave. So that's one very general way that that the book influenced culture. But in O'Loughlin's article, he presents some very specific other examples that you should include in your paper. And so just finally, 2 to 3 pages. So you need to just jump right in. Don't spend a lot of time with including general comments that you might get from secondary sources and stuff like that. Jump right into O'Loughlin's article. What is his thesis? What is he arguing for? And how does he explain how Harriet Beecher Stowe's book positively and negatively impacted American society at that time and culture?